My name is Leah Guerrero, and this is my presentation on perceptions and culture. The class is Relational Psychology, Psych 202A. My professor's name is Anna Vick, and the project is due September 7th, 2020. What is web-based social cognition? Well, first, let's take a look at what social cognition is. Social cognition is a specific area of social psychology that points out how people process, store, and apply information about other people while in certain social situations. It focuses on cognitive processes and how they play in our social interactions with other human beings. In social cognition, perception, attention, memory, and action are all important in social interaction. When we don't have time to process information, our brain uses mental shortcuts known as heuristics. We use these shortcuts when we don't have enough information or time to sort out every detail in social situations. So then what is web-based social cognition? The different ways that various social psychological occurrences happen in the world of cyber technology. Because of the constantly growing use of technology, researchers are further exploring the field of social psychology, specifically social cognition in cyber environments. According to Sabatz, one of the things being researched is which cues online are being used to form opinions and judgments of other people. How do we base our initial impression of these people over the internet? Fascinating enough, it seems as if there is a lot of data that suggests that there isn't a whole lot of difference between the judgments we make online and in person. So then how does culture relate to perceptions of others and ourselves? It's like Julian Borel said, it's not about what you see, but what you perceive. Do these perceptions vary across cultures? Well, let's take a look and compare and contrast some key differences between American culture and Japanese culture. There are so many more differences, but I just decided to go ahead and list a few here. So in American culture, Americans eat and drink on the go daily. Everybody's busy. They're always in the middle of the hustle and bustle. They're always grabbing stuff on the go. There's food stands everywhere. There's coffee stands everywhere. And that's just a normal part of everyday life. In Japanese culture, it's considered disrespectful to eat or drink on the go, especially in any kind of a public space, like on a bus or a train. Americans often work jobs that they're unattached to and even dislike. Americans tend to bounce around from different job to different job. That's not everybody, but it is common. In Japan, they have what's called shokunin, or a sort of pride and mastery in one's work. People take one trade and they master it, and regardless of what we might consider as a lowly position here in American culture, they embrace it and learn the ins and outs and really master it and take a lot of pride in their work. Here in America, often display PDA, or public displays of affection. In Japan, PDA is considered bad taste. There's no actual rules of law or laws against it, but they kind of enforce it by the stares and the dirty looks you'd get if you display any kinds of public display of affection in public. In America, holding hands is a way to show romantic affection between a couple. In Japan, holding hands is common among friends. Americans shake hands or even hug to greet or say goodbye. In Japan, they bow. They don't like getting too close to one another if they don't have to, so the physical contact is eliminated. Americans pass cash and change hand to hand, and it's considered disrespectful in American culture if you take cash and set it on a counter. Where in Japanese culture, it's the opposite. They place money in a tray for the exchange, and then place the money back in the tray to hand it back to the person. And if you were to hand it to the person, it would be considered disrespectful. One more big difference is Americans find lack of eye contact when you're in the middle of a conversation disrespectful. And in Japan, they find extended eye contact rude. So I found that interesting. Were any of these surprises different, or were any of these differences surprising? No, I think the two biggest differences between our culture here in America and Japan are how we pass money and how we communicate with our eyes. The way we do things here in America are seen as a sign of disrespect in Japan and vice versa. Has this research changed my perception or previous impression about this particular culture? Well, I did not have enough information to have a previous impression. I was never in a position to make an educated judgment about Japanese culture. One thing I did learn was that it would probably be very wise to study the culture of any country that a person may choose to go to on vacation or even just to visit. A person wouldn't want to accidentally insult the culture in which they're engaged in at the time. So what options are available while being integrated into another culture? Say you're going abroad, you're studying overseas, or you're taking a job. There are three options that were discussed by Julian Burrell in the TED Talk that we watched. One is you can confront, which means that my own culture is right and therefore my behavior is right and there's no need for me to change. You can complain, which is live in segregation, cut off from the rest of the community that you find yourself in. Or you can conform, which is to learn, adapt, and grow into this new community. This is when a person will actually benefit from diversity. And that would be all. Here's my list of references. Thank you.